Thanks for being here. The mic is working. What a day. There was a lot of anticipation leading up to the draft. This deal that we were able to got done during the first pick. Donnie consummated it with Travis Schlenk from Atlanta, and then Mark and Mr. Wrestler had an exchange on the phone to confirm it, and so we're very fortunate. Luka Doncic is the guy that was the guy we targeted to get in this draft if there was any way possible to do it. At one point we thought there might be a slight chance he could fall to us, but then a couple days ago it was pretty clear that there was no way that was going to happen. He was just too good, and so we made this deal. We moved up. Atlanta got a great player in Trae Young. We get a guy that we think is a franchise foundation piece. And so it's a really great day for the Mavericks organization. This kid has won everything there is to win in European and international basketball, and he's done it at an age that's unprecedented. He is a playmaker. He's a basketball player. I'm not sure what position he is. I think his position is on the floor, playing and making plays. And making people better. He's gonna be a great guy to play with Dennis Smith and Harrison Barnes. They're going to enhance his game. He's going to enhance theirs, and really excited. We had a chance to have a short Skype interview with him a few days ago. Seems like a humble kid that really loves to play, loves the game, and was really anxious at that point to finish up his international play on a high note, which they did, and then move to the next stage of his career, which is the NBA. So it's a big day. It's a big day for us, and I'll take a few questions.
How do you see him playing with Dennis Smith? I know over on his national team he played alongside with Goran Dragic, and Dragic said he first kind of wondered how they work out. He said that he had no problem playing with Luka.
He's the kind of player that is going to be able to play with virtually anybody. He just has a skill set and an understanding and a feel for the game, and he's a great shooter, so he creates space for other players, which is really going to help Dennis. And so I think it's going to be a great fit both ways. I really do. I think Dennis's speed and rim attacking ability is going to complement Doncic's spacing ability and playmaking ability very well.
Rick, you hear a lot of talk about him being extremely polished for a 19-year-old guy. Where do you see kind of the room for growth in the areas where you guys can help him really blossom?
Well, from a skill perspective, he's very polished. He's very refined for a kid that's 19. In the interview that we had with him, talked to him a little bit about things that we do from a functional training standpoint for strength, and the fact that we're very proactive about doing things really on a day-to-day basis. And I got the sense that that's an area where he can really see some gains. I know that coming into last season, if you'd asked Dennis Smith now, going into last season, if it was what he expected it to be in terms of the grind and the physical demands, I think what he would tell you now is he had no idea what he was getting into. And Dennis worked extremely hard on strength training, balance training, all those things. His body got stronger as the season went along. And so I think that Casey Smith and Jeremy Holsapple and Deon Calhoun can really enhance where he's at as a 19-year-old. And we've got to prepare him for the long haul here. He just finished international play 2 days ago, and so Summer League's right around the corner, and so we're going to have to think out how we're going to approach that and so on. But the kid has had an amazing run in international basketball, and we're real excited to take the reins and go forward from here.
Rick, you hit on it, but JJ, Devin Harris, even Seth Curry, these guys that you have like 1-2 hybrids, is that just kind of now a requirement for your system in a way that to be able to play both of those positions?
Well, it's becoming a reality in this league that if you don't have the ability to play a couple of positions and guard a couple of positions, and in many cases you're gonna have to guard 3 or 4 positions because of all the switching that's happening now, then you're gonna be up against it a little bit in terms of being able to get on the floor and stay on the floor. So Doncic has terrific size, 6'8", 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", whatever it is. He has playmaking ability. He can score. He's a joyful passer, is the way I would describe him. He plays with a pass-first sort of view of the game, and guys like that are a blast to play with.
On draft night last year, I can't remember the phrase you used, jubilation or high five.
Yeah, I don't remember.
What was it tonight? What was the mood tonight?
Well, yeah, a lot of excitement. You know, there's so much anticipation for this draft for a lot of reasons. You know, the talent level in the top 10 is really exceptionally good. And, you know, even if we'd stayed at 5, we were going to get a guy that we really liked. And so it was going to be a win-win regardless, but this turned it into a special night to get a player like this. And, you know, we've got to understand that he is 19 and that, you know, NBA stardom doesn't happen overnight. It's going to be a process. You know, we've got to protect him as well as be excited for, you know, him to get on the floor and do the things that he's been doing so well in Europe.
Mike, was there any worries that Memphis could trade number 4 for Trae Young and the deal might not happen?
You watch Twitter too much. There's always those possibilities, but I tell you, with everything going on with social media now and all the communication that's going on between different people that you know are able to leverage knowledge out there, you know, decision makers like Donnie Nelson do a great job of knowing what's what, and so you know, so really there were no concerns like that.
Rick, you said his best position is on the floor. If you had to pick a position,
Mac, the second time here this year. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
I figured.
Yeah, it was done. What position is he? Is he a guard? Is he a shooting guard? Is he
Yeah, he's a skilled playmaker. You know, and you know, I've watched enough of his games where he's actually playing point guard. You know, I've seen a lot of that. If you play him off the ball, you know, the defense has to chase him around because he has great range, and he really sees people. You know, he's got a great sixth sense for passing and seeing things develop before a lot of other players do. And so, you know, I think he can play any one of 4 positions. Truthfully, I think he can play 1, 2, 3, or 4 with you know, his size at 6'7", and you know, at 19 years old, who knows? Maybe he's still growing.
Your bad lottery luck cost you a first-round pick. To what extent is that protected next year?
To the extent that I don't really care about it. You know, we're you know, we've had 2 years that have been rough years. You know, when you commit to a rebuild and you commit to younger players and you're trying to develop guys into new realms of responsibility, you know, you're gonna take hits. You're gonna take a lot of them. But we need to do better next year. You know, future draft picks to me are, you know, of very little interest at this point. We got to take this group and move these guys forward.
Rick, how would you evaluate Luka in terms of athleticism by NBA standards?
Hard to say. And you know, look, this kid, he's been through an amazing grind. You know, in the European leagues and the international leagues, they don't play as many games per week as the NBA, but they have multiple tournaments, and it's a lot of pressurized stuff, and there aren't a lot of breaks. I mean, he's been playing for months and months and months, and so I think it's important right now that he gets a breather and gets to catch his breath a little bit. And you know, in terms of athleticism, I believe he's going to prove to be a deceptively good athlete in the NBA. And I know this, that guys that have his level of skill become more athletic because of how you got to run at them at the three-point line and beyond because of their shooting ability. So, again, I think you look at his record and the accomplishments that he has at this young age, and you know, this is a guy that's proven he can get better, he can play with the best, and he can be the best of the best, you know, in that league. And that, you know, and those leagues are high level leagues.
Where do you see his defensive potential and being able to go 1 through 4, maybe being able to switch, and how long of an adjustment do you think that could take for him?
Well, you know, the NBA's become such a liberal switching league that he's going to have to be able to switch frequently and onto all kinds of different positions. Now there's a lot of switching and kicking where you switch and actually kick a smaller guy out and a bigger guy onto a guy that's rolling and things like that. And you know, teams are getting better and better at that. He certainly understands the game very well. I think he's going to be able to think through a lot of these things. It's going to come down to understanding personnel, and then, you know, developing a sense for the NBA game defensively, and becoming a better defender is something you can always work on. I don't care who you are, where you're from, or how good you are now. You can always get better at it.
Rick, do you have an NBA comp for Doncic at all?
I don't. I don't want to go there. This kid has really carved out an amazing, you know, record of accomplishments. I think he comes to the NBA on his own merits. You know, and I think going forward, he should be judged on, you know, being the first Luka Doncic, if not, you know, the second coming of this guy or that guy or the other guy. And I think that's fair, based on what he's done.
A lot of people were thinking the Mavs might take a big man. How do you address that position going forward?
July 1st is right around the corner, bro. Yeah, we'll address it, and there'll be options. You know, this organization, you know, with Mark at the helm, is always going to be opportunistic, and be in a mode to make things happen where they're the right kinds of things. And tonight's good evidence of that. You know, with this deal going down late, but it was meticulously thought out. You know, we gave up something of value, but you know, it was well calculated as to the reward versus risk, and we all feel great about the deal.
I know it was a brief Skype visit, but was there anything that he said that really made you feel like, well, this is our guy, if we can get him?
Well, I was uncertain that we were going to be able to get it, because at 5, it just was, you know, a lot of things would have to happen, and you'd have to get extremely fortunate. But I was very impressed with his disposition, his humility, understanding of the game, just kind of a sincere glow about the opportunity to come and play, you know, for an NBA franchise. And my sense is that, you know, he'll come in with the right level of respect, but I don't think he's going to be scared of anybody.
When guys came over from Europe there for a while, there was a tag that maybe defensively they were a little bit maybe inferior. I think the label that we heard a lot was soft. Are Europeans that come over now beyond those kind of stereotypes and labels?
I guess you'd probably have to go through the list of guys that would have come over. I mean, I'm certainly not going to stoop to the depths of using that word on a night like tonight. I mean, it's just not appropriate. You know, this kid is the ultimate winner in the international game. I mean, and the accomplishments speak for themselves. And you know, great players adapt and adjust, and you know, you don't get to the level that he's gotten to without being tough. And you know, every player that comes in this league has challenges at the defensive end, and you've got to learn it, You're going to have to sit down more. You're going to have to, you know, get tough, and it's going to be that kind of grind every single night.
Assessing his game right now, would you rather have him come off the pitch at the beginning of the season or have him start?
Who was that? Yeah, hey. I would project him as a starter right now. And then, you know, we'll see where it all goes. But listen, I stood up here last year or whatever room we were in, and, you know, said the same thing about Dennis. And he started every game that he was available. And you know, I see the same kinds of things for Doncic. And again, I really have a strong feeling that he and Dennis will both complement each other extremely well.